let's just talk about a few important factors here. The Ford Bronco. One of the things that make it really awesome is its approach angle, its departure angle, and of course, what goes on in between the wheels. You've got good clearance there. So, who has the best approach angle? Well, it's definitely not the TRD. You can see that front nose sticking out as much as mine. So that's a big front nose. You've got way too much booty in the back. So I guess this is probably what you and I should drive if we had a compromised vehicle.
That's sad. I loved that model before, but now that I see it next to a Jeep just underneath, yeah, I agree with you.
Oh, you don't love it because it's got a big booty?
No, it's sad because before I really loved the 4Runner.
I still do really like the 4Runner, but I think
when we see it between
way
a Bronco
better angles
and a Jeep,
here.
Yeah.
Now you've got the Jeep here, and the Jeep has a really good. It could have a so much better approach angle. Let's zoom in on that. Look at that. This is ridiculous. You've got before the bumper. You've got an incredible. Look at that. Incredibly small distance between the wheels and what could be one of the greatest approach angles. And then you've got this big, dumb, ugly bumper. It's like they didn't put any budget
It's a snowplow.
It's a snowplow. They didn't put any budget towards making that, because bumpers have to pass. Sorry, Lily's hitting the camera. Bumpers have to pass safety tests. They have to meet certain requirements, but it's like they didn't put the budget in to make this small. So that kind of destroys your angles. You've got the back. The back on the Jeep's great. You see the distance here, end of the tire wall to the bumper. And it creates an angle there that I'm not going to measure out, but we can see that's a really nice departure angle. One of the things that I'm sad, well, the TRD's really sad because if you make a mistake, your bumper's ruined. If you make a mistake, your bumper's ruined. The Bronco, if you've got the option to take the modular bumper, if you make a mistake, who cares? It's full steel. That thing's super tough. The back's plastic. I'd like to see a full metal bumper option for 2024. So Ford, make it happen. Don't worry so much about changing the grille, the lights, or the fenders. We love the style of the Bronco. But make the back bumper metal standard. It looks better, and it is better for off-road. Nothing like damaging and really expensive. Like one of these, the TRD's the worst. Let's zoom in. Horrible for off-roading because if you just crack down here, guess what? They're changing all of the bumper. And it's like a $3,000-$4,000 repair. This is all painted. It's all plastic. It's one piece. It's super expensive. It makes for insurances to cost more because the replacement is super expensive. And insurances, the reason you shop between company to company is because insurances base their prices on the cost, basically the money they've dished out to clients for that model. So if you build an off-road vehicle with a stupid bumper, and I say stupid because it's stupid to advertise a vehicle for being off-road, but then have a $4,000 plastic bumper on it that requires really expensive painting. Bad idea, Toyota. And you don't have tow hooks, so poo-poo to Toyota. You don't know. You build a great off-road machine, and then you're like, how can we ruin this? And you ruin it. Now, the Jeep, I just don't like their 6-cylinder. Love their plug-in. Tons of torque. No budget on the front bumper. Shame on Jeep.
But anyway, I need to precise one thing. If you do off-road with your car and you scratch it, maybe the insurance won't pay because it's not a normal use. So anyway, but it will cost more in your pocket. Appreciate
that. Now, this vehicle is small. And who's going to fit in it? So next, now, if you can afford one of these, woo-wee, and I say woo-wee because some people are going to treat you like you're a redneck trying to kill everyone because, the environment and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, we all get brainwashed to a certain degree, but what can you do? These things are expensive either way, and if you think I'll get an electric version because the electric Hummer, if you think that thing is somehow good for the environment and is a zero emissions vehicle, you've been horribly brainwashed. electric vehicles are far from being zero emissions because it takes a ton of emissions to create it. And I've got a slide that I never showed last week with Greta Thunberg, and it was in French anyways, but at least the image would explain the situation quite well. Remember, don't believe everything you get told. And here's a prime example. You've got, why not learn things from He-Man? You've got He-Man here saying, remember friends, they said income tax was only temporary. Historically, for World War II, they said we need to bring income tax along to fund the war. When the war's over, we're going to take it away. And we've paid income tax every year since. Just like it is a big crock, a big lie that electric vehicles are zero emissions. You have to calculate the pollution that goes into making the batteries and also the humanitarian costs, because often there's a form of slavery that goes into making the batteries. Now watch YouTube ban me and I get no views, but I'll just blame YouTube for my rants that nobody likes. So until next time, friends, He-Man's taken off because he's been speaking the truth, just like I'm here to speak the truth, just like the food pyramid. Yes, folks, you can't actually live off just steak. And I do worry that with future carbon taxing and digital currency, I do truly worry that we're slowly going to be priced out of steak. And
you really take the time to search that picture on internet.
Well, I used to be on a farm, and throughout high school and college, I worked on a beef farm. And guess what? Beef farms, if it's not an industrial complex, beef farms are fantastic for the environment because the cows poop in the fields, the grass grows, and you're not tilling those fields. So you're not killing all sorts of small snakes, snails, worms, rodents, rabbits. You're leaving a habitat for foxes to live in, for birds to live in. So you're helping out the entire ecosystem by having fields that you grow up the hay to a high point and then you let the cows go in and naturally eat it, naturally fertilize it. It's fantastic for the environment. And this, my friends, is fantastic for your health because in the 70s and 80s, we're all lied to. We're all told sugar is good for you and fat is the thing that was causing people to become obese. And fat in beef and pork was blamed for everything.
And finally, is the sugar the bad person in it?
They always knew.
The bad guy.
It's that sugar costs nothing. And while the corporations, you've got Vanguard and BlackRock who own almost all the food production. So all your cereals and all your sugary foods, they're making billions, trillions off of it.
Yeah, starting morning with sugary
And they also own all the hospitals and all the health programs. They're making tons of money making us sick off sugar. They sell us sugar, it costs them nothing, and then we have all our money that we've worked our entire lives to collect and actually have, and we say, hey, we're going to retire and finally spend some money, buy a boat, have a great retirement, and you end up spending it all on your health. And what can you do when you're not healthy? So this is good. Vegetables that aren't covered in pesticides, they're also good. So I have a purpose to this rant because it ties into the Ford Maverick. I just wanted to say that the Ford Maverick is a very important vehicle. Now I'm looking for my notes here. Hopefully I can find them because I've got a few, I think, stats that are important to keep in mind. So an affordable truck is so important because from 2002 to 2022, salaries rose by 27%, while home prices increased by 148%. This is why getting a good deal on a truck and getting you all and saving you all thousands of dollars is so important to me. The cost of living has gone up a ridiculous amount. Now, the average person has a $60,000 car, roughly, we'll get to the real stats in a moment, but makes roughly $50,000 a year and has over $100,000 in student debt. So I think it's pretty wild that the whole notion that you pay to train yourself to maybe get a university job is ridiculous because most university jobs we get into huge debts to maybe get a university job, and there's way too much supply. There are way too many people with university degrees. I've got two. I've got a degree in philosophy and I've got a degree in history, well, liberal arts. I did all my courses for my philosophy. They don't want to give me the piece of paper because they want more money and more of my time, but I did all the courses. So that's another thing. They basically want you to pay, and then a lot of us can't get jobs in our actual field. What we really need is tradespeople and affordable vehicles. Affordable vehicles are so much because we're all paying to go get ourselves trained for jobs we may not get. So we're paying just to have hope. We're getting sold the idea if you have a university degree, your life is going to be incredible. And my life's pretty darn good because I've got you all here and I don't work in my degree because my friends that work within their degree have horrible salaries. And I did a year of law school, and my friends who are lawyers have, for the number of hours they work, not great jobs. So, folks, we need to encourage young people to go into the trades. We desperately need tradesmen, as the majority are around 50 to 60 years of age. Trade salaries, due to rareness, is going to explode. So the cost of hiring a tradesman to fix your home is going to explode. So figure out how to fix things yourself real soon if you're young enough. And if you're old enough, encourage your kids to go into the trades because the salaries for those are going to explode. Because for and this is an average across the trades, for every 14 tradespeople retiring, there will only be one person entering the workforce. There won't be enough useful people to keep our homes running and to build our society. So what can I say? Huge thank you. A huge, huge thank you to all the truck drivers, to all the plumbers, the electricians, people working, laying down the roads, brick workers.
All people who have trucks.
All people and all the jobs that women often don't want. These are almost all male-dominated positions, building society, having the sweat jobs at 100 degrees and over 100 degrees Fahrenheit with the humidity. These jobs that break your back, ruin your feet and hands, they're almost all done by jobs. So I truly believe that we also need to encourage women so that we can have, equality. We need to encourage women to go out and become our daughters. If I have a daughter, I'm going to encourage her, become an electrician and then have a company, hire other electricians to work for you. That is what I'm going to encourage. And if you're in the trades, if you're a truck driver, thank you so very much for keeping society running. I think we forgot way too quickly from the last 3 years how these are the people that make it so society can exist. It's not Bitcoin traders that are making society exist. It's not so many useless or near useless invented professions to just steal money from people. I'm sorry, but I know you're a financial director in the past and it's important to do the credit, but that's also a job that can be abused and take people money away from people. But banks, the whole healthcare system, these are systems made so that we work and break our backs so that then we can just go and give it all to the banks in interest rates. People, please, folks, if you're buying a vehicle, try to save up some cash. Try to have a trade that's clear. Pay it off as fast as you can. Don't give your money to the banks. And if you can, like I learned at a young age with the Monopoly game, don't just try to every week go and get your weekly paycheck working for someone else. If you can, have at least a hybrid system where you'll get paid depending on how hard you work. So sales is a good example of that. You're rewarded for your hard work. Or, have your own company, have your own trucking company. Once you've worked long enough as an electrician and you've learned from the previous generation and, you're maybe in your mid 30s or early 40s, start your own electrician or plumbing company. But we need these professions, and I thank you. If you're in the profession, a lot of people in these professions are older and could retire, and a lot of them aren't retiring, so they can continue to, take care of their customers.